Hello, hi, good evening, everyone. Just posted the reminder on the Telegram group about the class. Waiting for a couple of minutes before others join in, and thereafter we start. In the meantime, if either of you, hello Arya, hello Sarva, if any of you have any questions, please feel free to ask. I will just wait for a few minutes for the rest of them to join, and उसके बाद फिर start करते हैं. People are still joining in. Hello, hi, good evening, everyone. Okay, so Sarva asks, what is the difference between pledge and bailment? ओके ठीक है. सो वैसे तो हमने ये पढ़ा था, बट ठीक है, मैं तुमको एक क्विकली बता देता हूँ. बेलमेंट इज फॉर अ पर्टिकुलर पर्पस, जहाँ पे कि आप रिपेयर के लिए देते हो, या फिर यू गिव इट फॉर अ स्पेसिफिक पर्पस लाइक रिपेयरिंग, क्लीनिंग, कीपिंग इट फॉर सम टाइम. So a movable property, a movable good is given to some other person for a specific purpose. And that purpose, once solved, the goods are returned back to me or are disposed of as according to what I have given the instructions for. Pledge, on the other hand, is a bailment. But the purpose is to secure a loan, is to secure a debt. तो वहाँ पे that movable property is kept not for a specific purpose of repairing, cleaning, keeping, but it is to secure a debt that has been given to you. So in case you default in the payment of the debt, वो movable property जो है फिर उसको वो sell off कर देंगे, या whatever they do, and they just convert it to offset the loss that has happened to them. तो pledge जो है, pledge is a bailment, but the purpose is the purpose is only one, and the purpose is to secure a debt, is to secure a loan. Whereas in a bailment, the purpose could be anything. Like for example, you give this cell phone, so it could be for repairing. You give your clothes, that could be for dry cleaning. You give your car, that could be for servicing. So all of that amounts to bailment, जहाँ पे purpose बहुत varied हो सकता है as according to the needs. जहाँ पे एग्रीमेंट या रेवोकेशन कंप्लीट हुआ, प्लीज एक्सप्लेन. ओके आर्यन, सो अभी ना वी विल बी डूइंग प्रैक्टिस मैराथन के 2 क्लासेस करेंगे. विल बी सॉल्विंग अराउंड 30 ऑड क्वेश्चंस इन 2 क्लासेस, एंड दैट विल हैपन इन अ फ्यू डेज. मतलब कल 2-3 दिन में वो प्रैक्टिस मैराथन की क्लासेस करेंगे, लेकिन वो स्पेशल क्लास होगी, वो अनअकैडमी के प्लेटफॉर्म पे होगी. तो वो वहाँ ज्वाइन कर लेना, वहाँ मैं डेफिनेटली तुमको एक्सप्लेन कर दूंगा. ठीक है. हाउस एज प्लेज, इज इट पॉसिबल? नो, नो, हाउस को यू कांट कीप इट एज प्लेज. मूवेबल प्रॉपर्टी, चैटल जो होता है ना, वो मूवेबल प्रॉपर्टी जो है वो तुम्हारी प्लेज में जाएगी. राइट. चलो, so let us begin with today's class, and this is the 17th class for contracts law. Good evening, everyone. A quick introduction about myself. My name is Vaibhav Prakash. I'm a National Law University Ranchi alumnus of 2016 batch, and presently I'm also pursuing my Masters of Law. And by now, I started training students for law entrance examinations since 2016, and by now I have successfully trained 1,000 plus students for CLAT and other various law entrance exams. Right. And the topic for today is agency in a contract. ठीक है, आज हम लोग एजेंसी के टॉपिक को पढ़ेंगे, जो कि काफ़ी इंपॉर्टेंट है, क्योंकि यहाँ से क्वेश्चंस जो है वो आते हैं. राइट. नाउ रिकैप अगर देखें तो हमने लास्ट क्लास में प्लेज के बारे में पढ़ा था. ड्यूटीज ऑफ पार्टीज अंडर द कॉन्ट्रैक्ट ऑफ प्लेज व्हेन कैन द प्रॉपर्टी बी रिटेन्ड इन प्लेज, ये सारी चीजें जो है वो हमने पढ़ी थी. नहीं सर्वा, व्हाट यू आर सेइंग इज कि यू कीप गोल्ड एज प्लेज, दैट इज करेक्ट. तुम बिल्कुल रख सकते हो. यू कैन ऑल्सो कीप हाउस एज गिरवी, मतलब तुम उसको भी रख सकते हो एज अ कोलैटरल. That is absolutely correct, but that is not governed by Indian Contracts Act. That is governed by Transfer of Property Act. तो जब हम ट्रांसफर ऑफ प्रॉपर्टी के कुछ मेजर कॉन्सेप्ट्स पढ़ेंगे ना तो मैं तब बता दूंगा. ठीक है, तो वो ट्रांसफर ऑफ प्रॉपर्टी एक्ट से गवर्न होता है, वो प्लेज नहीं होता है. ठीक है, चलो. सो आज का क्लास स्टार्ट करते हैं जहाँ पे कि हमको पढ़ना है कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ एजेंसी. Now, what happens in an agency? Section 182 deals with the concept of agency. Okay. Now, what is an agent? Who is an agent? Agent is basically a person who has been employed to do any act for another person or to represent another person in dealings with third person. So basically, if I have to say, I, then say for example, hello, hi Sakshi, Sarva and Arya. ठीक है, so ये तीन parties हैं supposedly. So supposedly I appoint Sarva as my agent. Why would I appoint Sarva as my agent? Because supposedly I want Sarva to work in my place instead of me. Okay, so supposedly Sarva lives in say Pune. I have a house in Pune. But now I am shifting to say London. ठीक है, नाउ आई एम शिफ्टिंग टू लंडन. अब ये पुणे वाला जो घर है, आई नीड समवन टू टेक केयर ऑफ दैट. सो देयरफॉर व्हाट आई डू इज आई एम्प्लॉय सर्वा टू लुक आफ्टर माय हाउस इन पुणे. आई एम नॉट आस्किंग सर्वा टू लिव इन द हाउस, आई एम आस्किंग सर्वा टू लुक आफ्टर माय हाउस. ठीक है, टू डू एनी एक्ट फॉर अनदर. So he is looking out for my house. He is looking after my house for me. So that person that is employed to do any act for me becomes my agent. That is what section 182 defines. Or he represents another को I से replace कर दो. ठीक है, he represents me in dealings with third person. Third person कौन है? आर्यन है. सो आर्यन के साथ अगर कोई डील होती है तो अगेन आई हैव ऑथराइज्ड सर्वा टू गो एंड रिप्रेजेंट मी. सो अगेन गोइंग बैक टू द सेम प्रिंसिपल, आई हैड टू हैव अ बिजनेस डील विथ आर्यन. ठीक है, आर्यन एंड आई नीडेड अ बिजनेस डील टू हैपन, बट नाउ आई लिव इन लंडन एंड आर्यन लिव्स इन मुंबई. नाउ who would it be easier for to do this business deal on my behalf? Like I will have to fly down from London to Mumbai for every time. That will be very expensive. It will also take a lot of time. It will also take a lot of efforts. So I say, ठीक है, Sarva any which way is looking after my house in say Pune. Why not ask Sarva to represent me? So Sarva represents me in front of Aryan. Sarva goes, attends the meeting, takes down all the points, whatever are the concerns, he writes down, and then he sends it back to me. और back and forth मैं समझ लिया सर्वा से कि क्या, what are the fine points, what are the fine prints, and all of those things is something which I have understood as to what Sarva comes and tells me. So again in this way, he is doing some act for me. He is representing me in front of some third person. So Sarva here becomes my agent, and that is exactly what section 182 of Indian Contracts Act tells that agent is nothing. Agent is basically a person who has been employed to do some act for me or represent me in front of some third person. Okay? Now there are three people here. So I am called as the principal, the one who appoints. The one who appoints is called the principal. So principal कौन है? Principal is Vaibhav. Agent कौन है? Sarva. Aryan कौन है? Aryan is nothing but a third person. It could be any third person. अब ज़रूरी नहीं है कि हर बार थर्ड पर्सन के सामने मतलब उसको रिप्रेजेंट करना ही हो, तो आर्यन का अपना कोई वैसा वो लोड नहीं है, बट द रिलेशनशिप दैट इज एग्जिस्ट्स बिटवीन मी एंड सर्वा. आई एम द प्रिंसिपल, सर्वा इज माई एजेंट. क्या बेसिक सीरीज स्टार्ट कर दो मतलब? Oh, I am so sorry. I did not know. I am so sorry. Sarva is a she, not a he. Sorry. ठीक है. So Sarva जो है, Sarva becomes the agent, I become the principal, and Aryan happens to be the third person. ठीक है. So this is what is the basic concept of agency under section 182, जो कि एक्सप्लेन किया हुआ है तुम्हारा इंडियन कॉन्ट्रैक्ट्स एक्ट. नाउ व्हाट आर द टेस्ट ऑफ डिटरमाइनिंग वेदर अ रिलेशनशिप ऑफ एजेंसी एग्जिस्ट्स बिटवीन मी एंड सर्वा और नॉट. सो वन, a person does not become an agent merely because he or she gives advices in the matters of business. Just because you are giving me advice, you do not become my agent. It depends upon what functions and what responsibilities are performed by you on my behalf. So if you're performing some responsibilities, if there are some functions that I have given to you to perform, on that basis that the work that you're doing on my behalf, the work that you're doing for me, that is something which makes you the agent. It is not just mere advices that you give that you become my agent, but it is the functions and the responsibilities which makes you my agent, or which makes anyone anyone's agent. ठीक है? Is this clear so far? Any questions? Please feel free to ask, because इसके बाद फिर हम आगे बढ़ेंगे. Clear to everyone? Chalo. Now the second question, or the second very pertinent question that arises is, who can employ an agent? ऐसे कौन से लोग हैं जो एजेंट को एम्प्लॉय कर सकते हैं? सर्वर देखो क्या है, डिफिकल्टी क्या होती है ना, आप व्हेन यू डोंट इंटरैक्ट विथ अ पर्सन ऑन अ पर्सनल लेवल, तो ये मतलब ऐसा हो जाता है कि यू डोंट गेट टू नो कि who that individual is. It's just a name. तो थोड़ा डिफिकल्ट होता है, and you know, I apologize. And I know that you have given me a lot of dedications on Unacademy platform, and I'm extremely thankful for that. But now you must be regretting कि why did I dedicate so much to this person? He does not even know that I'm a girl. ठीक है. चलो तो नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन पे, नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन पे आते हैं, जो कि हमको ये पूछता है, हु कैन एम्प्लॉय एन एजेंट? दिस बिकम्स अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट क्वेश्चन कि भाई कौन एजेंट को एम्प्लॉय कर सकता है. तो द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग हियर टू अंडरस्टैंड इज एनी पर्सन जिसने 18 ईयर्स कंप्लीट कर लिया है, हु इज अ मेजर. थैंक यू सर्वा, थैंक यू. Really appreciate. So, any person who has turned major, who has attained the age of majority, according to the law which he is subject to, जैसे इंडियन लॉज में मेजॉरिटी जो है वो 18 ईयर्स की है. इंडियन मेजॉरिटी एक्ट जो है वो कहता है कि इंडियन मेजॉरिटी एक्ट सेज दैट यू हैव टू बी 18 ईयर्स. तो वन, यू शुड बी 18 ईयर्स एंड you should be a person of sound mind. So 18 years plus sound mind, you can employ an agent. I am 18 plus, my mind is pretty sound, I can employ an agent. Okay? An appointment of agent involves a contract, क्योंकि एजेंसी जो है वो खुद ही एक कॉन्ट्रैक्ट है. So minor's agreement here becomes void. तो minor, क्योंकि हमने स्टार्टिंग में पढ़ा है void ab initio हो जाता है, minor's agreement is void ab initio. So minor cannot enter into a contract of agency because they have not attained the age of 18 years. So even if a minor is sound mind, तो ये 18 years जो है वो complete नहीं हुआ. यहाँ पे प्लस का साइन लगा है, दोनों होना चाहिए, 18 भी होना चाहिए प्लस साउंड माइंड भी होना चाहिए. Then only you can appoint an agent. So if this is missing, 18 years plus sound mind is missing, so minor's agreement since is void, therefore appointment of agency cannot have a minor in place. Then we come to the third point. Infant cannot appoint an agent to act for him. An infant person, like not like a baby, a infant, like lesser than 7 years of age something, neither by means of power of attorney nor by any means. क्योंकि भाई उनका तो मतलब दे एनी विच वे डोंट हैव एनी आइडिया एज टू व्हाट लाइफ इज, व्हाट इज राइट, व्हाट इज रॉन्ग. सो इन एनी मैनर इन्फेंट्स कैन नॉट अपॉइंट अ एजेंट टू एक्ट ऑन देयर बिहाफ. Howsoever, there is nothing in Contracts Act which prohibits the guardian of a minor from appointing an agent for him. तो अगर supposedly you are a minor, who is your natural guardian? Your parents. Now supposedly someone does not have their parents, तो उसमें क्या होगा? Who becomes the guardian? जो कि कोर्ट अपॉइंट करता है. अगर कोर्ट ने किसी को गार्जियन अपॉइंट किया है किसी माइनर बच्चे के लिए, तो इवन दैट गार्जियन कैन अपॉइंट द एजेंट फॉर द माइनर. क्योंकि यहाँ पे कॉन्ट्रैक्ट जो है वो माइनर और एजेंट के बीच में नहीं हो रहा. यहाँ पे कॉन्ट्रैक्ट जो हो रहा है वो गार्जियन और एजेंट के बीच में हो रहा है. सो गार्जियन इज अपॉइंटिंग एन एजेंट. The contract of agency is happening between the guardian and the agent for the benefit of the minor child, for the benefit of the child. ठीक है? So this becomes an exception. ठीक है? Minor directly cannot appoint a guardian. Minor directly cannot appoint an agent because minors का agreement void होता है. Howsoever, guardian can appoint an agent who would be working on behalf of the minor. That can happen because the contract is not between the minor and the agent, but the contract there is between the guardian and the agent. But that agent would not be working for the guardian. The agent would be working on behalf of the minor child. ठीक है? कोई क्लियर, कोई कंफ्यूजन यहां तक? Anyone has any questions so far? Good. Now, अभी हमने देखा कि एजेंट कौन अपॉइंट कर सकता है. अब देखते हैं कि एजेंट कौन बन सकता है. हु ऑल कैन बिकम एन एजेंट? हु कैन बी एन एजेंट? दिस बिकम्स अनदर इंपॉर्टेंट क्वेश्चन. सो लास्ट में हम लोगों ने पढ़ा था, लाइक लास्ट स्लाइड में हमने पढ़ा था प्रिंसिपल के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से. ठीक है. Who can appoint? प्रिंसिपल कौन हो सकता है? नाउ वी विल सी who can be an agent. अब एजेंट कौन बन सकता है? This becomes another important question. Now as per section 184, वापस से जाते हैं 184 पे. As between the principal and the third person, any person may become an agent, but no person who is not of the age of majority. So any person can become an agent, but he should be 18 plus and should be of sound mind. Majority and sound mind. 18, more than 18 plus sound mind can become an agent so as to be responsible to his principal according to the provisions in that behalf herein contained. ठीक है, मतलब basically any person who has attained the age of 18 years, whose mind is absolutely sound, can become an agent for any other person, for any person. ठीक है. If occasionally of sound mind, हाँ. So if the person is occasionally of sound mind, then he will be acting as an agent only during that period when he is of during that occasion when he is of sound mind. Apart from that, he will not be acting as an agent. That was actually a good question, Sarva. ठीक है. अच्छा देखो, इसमें एक और चीज क्या है कि अ पर्सन में कॉन्ट्रैक्ट थ्रू अ माइनर एजेंट. मतलब आप एक माइनर को एजेंट बना सकते हो, बट देन उसमें प्रॉब्लम क्या है ना कि द माइनर विल नॉट बी रेस्पॉन्सिबल. देयर वुड बी नो लीगल रेस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी टुवर्ड्स द प्रिंसिपल. यू मे मेक अ माइनर एज अ एजेंट, बट ही विल नॉट बी रेस्पॉन्सिबल टू द प्रिंसिपल. Correct. So that is a catch that you will have to remember. So who can be an agent? A person who has attained the age of 18 plus, and who is also a person of sound mind. So these are two things which you'll have to remember with respect to deciding whether a person can be an agent or not. Now, अभी हमने इससे पहले हमने कॉन्ट्रैक्ट में हमेशा क्या देखा है कि there has to be an offer, there has to be an acceptance, it becomes a promise, you attach a consideration, then it becomes a agreement. Now if the agreement is enforceable, then it becomes a contract. Otherwise it becomes void. If it is non-enforceable, then it becomes void. ये फ्लो चार्ट हमने एकदम स्टार्टिंग में पढ़ा था. नहीं, द कॉन्ट्रैक्ट, हेलो प्रतीक, हाय. कॉन्ट्रैक्ट विद माइनर विल बिकम वॉइड ab initio, करेक्ट. तो इसीलिए बोला जा रहा है ना कि तुम कर लो, लेकिन उसका कोई इफेक्ट नहीं रहेगा क्योंकि आप रेस्पॉन्सिबल होल्ड नहीं कर पाओगे. The point is कि what if I want to make a person as an agent who is a minor? तो इसमें कुछ ऐसा कुछ गलत नहीं है. So therefore the law says do it, but he will anyway not be responsible to you. We will not impute any responsibility upon the minor. So even if he does something wrong, you will have to bear the loss for it. So no one will any which way be doing it. So that's the logic. ठीक है. सो ये हमने फ्लो चार्ट जो है वो एकदम फर्स्ट क्लास में पढ़ा था कॉन्ट्रैक्ट के. ठीक है. सो सपोजिटली आई गिव एन ऑफर टू सर्वा. आई मेक एन ऑफर टू सर्वा. सर्वा एक्सेप्ट्स. देयर इज अ प्रॉमिस. आई एंड सर्वा. ठीक है. सो नाउ आई I make an offer to Sarva that please act as my agent and look after the house that I have in Pune. Or uske, because I'll be going in London. I'll be going to London. So that is the offer that I make. Sarva accepts. Sarva says, yes, sir, sure. It is absolutely no problem. I any which way live in Pune, so therefore I'll look at it. I'll take care of your house. Don't worry. There's an acceptance. Now there is a promise. There's a promise between me and Sarva that Sarva will look after, Sarva will look after my house when I'm not in Pune and I'm in London. Now, in order for a contract to happen, we have understood that the consideration needs to be there. There has to be some consideration. Consideration need not be zero. ठीक है? अगर consideration zero है तो आगे बढ़ नहीं सकते. तो it just remains a promise. There is no agreement. ठीक है? There is no agreement because it remains zero. However, the exception in a contract of agency is that there need not be a consideration. Consideration अगर zero है भी तो भी even if the consideration is zero, even then contract of agency will survive. So this is an exception. अगर यहाँ पे कोई consideration नहीं है, I don't give any money to Sarva, then also it is fine. Getting a point? I don't give any money to Sarva for looking after my house. There is no consideration because consideration is what? Something in return of something. Sarva is looking after my house in return of what? In return of zero. So there is no something for something. So there is a zero consideration. Even then, the contract of agency survives. Why? Because Indian Contract Act makes it explicitly clear that consideration is not necessary in a contract of agency. It may be there. Agent may be given some remuneration for the services that are rendered. Agent को मैं दे भी सकता हूँ consideration, नहीं भी दे सकता हूँ. It is completely between me and the agent कि हमने क्या agree किया है. Whether agent has agreed to take some remuneration, and if Sarva says कि नहीं मेरे को नहीं चाहिए कोई remuneration, that is also fine. Absolutely fine. ठीक है? So consideration in a contract of agency is not necessary. इसको please याद रखना. Any questions so far? Okay. Now before we go to the next segment जहाँ पे कि हम कुछ questions करेंगे और rights and duties के बारे में बात करेंगे, उससे पहले let me very quickly run you through the features that Unacademy has to offer. When you study in a batch, when you study through a plus subscription course, you have the option of raising your hand and talking to your educator in a live class. आप बात कर सकते हो, अपने doubts, questions पूछ सकते हो, unlimited quizzes मिलते हैं. You can access live sessions, recorded sessions anytime, anywhere, as many times as you want. You have the opportunity to learn from the best educators who themselves had, cracked National Law University exams, CLAT exam. You get weekly updates about your examination, strategies, experiences, all of that. And of course, the most importantly, you get a lot of material to practice for your entrance examinations. There are different batches that have been started, that we have started off. So if you have not joined the batches so far, you can do that. There's a batch that started on 1st of September for 2022 students. आपको इसका description box में ना, मतलब इस video के description में you'll get the details about all the batches. Then we also have batches for CLAT 2023 students. मतलब basically those students जो कि नेक्स्ट टू नेक्स्ट ईयर एग्जाम लिखेंगे, उनके लिए 3rd September से बैच स्टार्ट हुआ है. यू कैन अटेंड दिस बैच एज वेल. एंड व्हेन यू गो फॉर योर प्लस सब्सक्रिप्शन, व्हाट यू कैन डू इज you can use my referral code, which is VAI10. VAI10 will help you get a 10% discount. Will get you a 10% discount on any of the plus subscription that you say, for example, you choose. So for example, you go for a 12-month, 1 year subscription, then you go then you get an additional 10% discount upon that total fees. If you have not already joined, so I would suggest this is a good time to join, because there's a price hike that is going to happen very soon. So if you are willing, if you have made up your mind, or if you are still thinking whether you should join the Plus subscription or not, I think the right time is now, because once the price increases, then it becomes a little more costlier for you to study. So quizzes जो है वो आपको अनलिमिटेड मिलते रहते हैं. आप खुद के लिए अपने फ्रेंड्स के साथ सेल्फ स्टडी करने के लिए क्विजेज लॉन्च कर सकते हैं, या एडुकेटर्स के क्विजेज में टेक पार्ट कर सकते हो. And there's also a feature that you can report anything inappropriate in the video by going into the description and filling up the form and stating that there's some inappropriate content that has been delivered. Then there are tests which are available to everyone from Monday to Friday. तो ये आप please इसका फ़ायदा उठाओ and start solving as many questions as you can. All right. Now moving on to the next segment, where we are going to discuss what are the duties of an agent. ये बहुत important होता है. Now, agent has the authority to act on behalf of the principal and to create contractual relations between the principal and a third party. Now, this kind of power is not something which is enjoyed by a servant. तो मतलब basically, again, so I, Sarva, Aryan. Sarva is my agent. Sarva enters into a contract on my behalf ठीक है. On my behalf, Sarva enters into a contract with Aryan. The effect is that the contract is between me and Aryan. साइन सर्वा ने किया, कॉन्ट्रैक्ट सर्वा ने एंटर किया, बट वो मेरे बिहाफ पे किया. द एक्चुअल इफेक्ट इन लॉ वुड बी दैट द कॉन्ट्रैक्ट इज बिटवीन मी एंड आर्यन. सो दैट इज व्हाट इज द अथॉरिटी दैट एन एजेंट हैज. Agent has the authority to act on behalf of his principal and to create contractual relations between the principal and the third party. ठीक है. Now, coming to the second point, where the authority given to co-agents is joint. अब मान लो दो agent है, ठीक है. It's not like कि सिर्फ एक agent है, but supposedly there are two agents. The authority given to co-agents is joint. मतलब it would be necessary for them to act jointly and only when the principal would be bound. Where the authority is joint and several, any one of them would be competent to act for the principal. Basically कहने का ये मतलब है कि अगर मान लो दो एजेंट है, सर्वा एंड एक्स, देन इफ देयर इज जॉइंट रेस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी, अगर मैंने इनको दोनों को ये अथॉरिटी दे के रखी है कि until and unless both of them say yes to the contract will not be signed. तो both of them will have to say yes. बट अगर मान लो मैंने कहा कि ठीक है दोनों में से कोई एक भी, लाइक जॉइंटली एंड सेवरली, मतलब इंडिविजुअली एज वेल एज जॉइंटली, बोथ ऑफ देम कैन enter into a contract. So Sarva enters into a contract without telling X. So even then in such cases I would be bound because I have given them the authority. So even if there are two agents in a situation, even if there are two agents, so in such cases either they can be held responsible jointly. अगर मैंने कहा है कि you will have to work together. Otherwise, they can also work individually if I have given them the opportunity, if I have given them the power to work individually. So in either of the cases, my responsibility or I would be bound by their actions once they do the work or perform the functions that they have been asked, either collectively or individually. That is what the second point is saying. An agent who represents more than one principals in one of the same transactions should account for to all of them jointly. मतलब कि अब यहाँ पे agent सर्वा अकेले है, but there are multiple principals. मेरे alongside there is another principal. So there are two principals and one agent. Correct. So in such cases, the duty of the agent is कि you will he will have to give the details of all the transactions, all the accounts to both of us. So Sarva cannot say that, since Sarva has given the account details to me, therefore he will not give it to X, who is the another principal. No, he will have to furnish all the accounts. He will have to furnish all the accounts, details, transactions to I plus X, to both of them. That is another duty which is put upon an agent. So this is what is point number 3. Is it clear so far? ठीक है, चलो. Now we come to another point जहाँ पे section 212 की बात करते हैं. Now, agent is bound to conduct the business with as much skill as is generally possessed by persons engaged in several business. ठीक है? तो generally as an agent आपसे ये required होता है कि आप उतना ही skill use करो जो कि उस particular business में जो लोग वो particular business कर रहे हैं वो कितना similar level of skill possess करते हैं, उतना level of skill आपके पास होना चाहिए. That is what is expected from the agent. So now supposedly agent is, so my agent is working for me in the hospitality segment. Hotels या restaurant में he is running a restaurant for me on my behalf. So what is expected from, what is it that we expect from my agent? That he should have that much skill, he should have that much experience of running a restaurant business. ठीक है, तो उतना बेसिक होना चाहिए. मैं ध्यान रखूंगा सर, आई एम सॉरी. ठीक है, अनलेस द प्रिंसिपल हैज नोटिस ऑफ हिज वांट ऑफ स्किल, अनलेस कि प्रिंसिपल को पता ही नहीं है. इफ आई डोंट हैव एनी नोटिस ऑफ हिज स्किल्स देन तो यू कैन डू एनीथिंग टू मी. मतलब दैट इज माई लुकआउट कि मेरे को पता होना चाहिए. बट अपार्ट फ्रॉम दैट what is the duty of the agent is that he or she should possess that स्किल जो कि जनरली उस बिजनेस को करने के लिए जो लोग इंगेज्ड हैं उनके पास जितना स्किल होता है उतना उस एजेंट के पास होना चाहिए. द एजेंट इज ऑलवेज बाउंड टू एक्ट विद रीजनेबल डिलीजेंस. अब व्हाट इज रीजनेबल डिलीजेंस, ये हमेशा फैक्ट्स पे डिपेंड करेगा. दिस ऑलवेज डिपेंड्स ऑन फैक्ट्स एंड सर्कमस्टांसेस ऑफ द केस. सो व्हाट इज रीजनेबल डिलीजेंस, कि कितना आप रीजनेबली सोच के काम कर रहे हो. सो व्हाट इज द ड्यूटी ऑफ द एजेंट इज कि रीजनेबल माइंड के साथ काम करो. ठीक है, इफ 1 लाख रुपीज हैज बीन गिवन टू यू टू इन्वेस्ट, डोंट गो एंड इन्वेस्ट इट इन अ कसिनो. दैट इज नॉट रीजनेबल डिलीजेंस because there's a chance that you might end up losing everything. So what is reasonable diligence? If I have given you 1 lakh rupees to invest, the expected thing, what reasonable diligence would be, you invest 25% in stock market, in equity, you invest 25% in debt, and you invest 50% in say gold. So 1 lakh rupees ka 25,000 you invested in equity and debt, and 50% you invested in gold. So that is how, so 50,000 you invested in gold, 25,000 in equity, 25,000 in debt. So this way you have very reasonably, very thoughtfully, you have invested that 1 lakh rupees. What would not have been reasonable diligence when you would have gone and invested that entire 1 lakh rupees in say casino, gambling कर लेते हैं, या पूरा का पूरा 1 लाख रुपए जो है वो तुमने इक्विटी में लगा दिया, शेयर मार्केट में लगा दिया. हो सकता है वो कम हो जाए यार, मतलब, बट इधर क्या है कि मेरी लाइबिलिटीज़ जो है वो बाइफरकेट कर गई. अगर मान लो इक्विटी डाउन भी हुआ तो शायद डेट से मेरे को थोड़ा पैसा मिल जाए, गोल्ड से मैं पैसा कमा लूँ, और जितना लॉस हुआ इधर वो ऑफसेट हो जाए. सो दैट इज़ हाउ अ रीजनेबल पर्सन इज सपोज टू थिंक. सो दैट इज़ व्हाट इज़ द ड्यूटी ऑफ एन एजेंट, to always act with reasonable diligence. Now if in case the agent is negligent, he's directly negligent. If the agent is directly negligent और उसके कारण मेरे को लॉस होता है, प्रिंसिपल को लॉस होता है, then the agent is supposed to repay the compensation. मैंने मेरे एजेंट को, मैंने सर्वा को बोला कि प्लीज इन्वेस्ट दिस 1 लाख रुपीज in this format: 25% in equity, 25% in debt and 50% in gold. क्लियर कट इंस्ट्रक्शन जो है वो दिया गया सर्वा को, बट सर्वा ने ठीक से सुना नहीं बात, या सर्वा ने कहा कि नहीं ठीक है, इसको ज़्यादा आइडिया नहीं है, आई नो कि हाउ आई कैन अर्न मोर मनी फॉर हिम. So what I'll do is I will invest 75% in equity, 10% in debt and 10% in gold. That is what Sarva did. अब उसके कारण इक्विटी का पैसा पूरा डूब गया, शेयर मार्केट crashes and I lose all my money. That's direct negligence of my agent Sarva. Strict instructions were given कि सिर्फ 25,000 शेयर मार्केट में लगाना, 50,000 गोल्ड में लगाना और 25% डेट में लगाना. ठीक है. वॉट वॉज डन वॉज 80% शेयर मार्केट में लगाया, 10% डेट में लगाया, 10% गोल्ड में लगाया. मतलब 10,000 गोल्ड, 10,000 डेट एंड 80,000 इन शेयर मार्केट. 80,000 इज गॉन. किसका नुकसान हुआ? प्रिंसिपल का, मेरा पैसा. कैसे हुआ? इट वॉज अ कॉन्सिक्वेंस, इट वॉज अ रिजल्ट ऑफ डायरेक्ट नेग्लिजेंस ऑफ माई एजेंट सर्वा. मैंने क्लियर कट बोला था कि ये मत करना. नाउ दैट 80,000 का लॉस जो है, दैट इज समथिंग विच सर्वा विल हैव टू रीपे टू मी. दैट इज अगेन अ ड्यूटी ऑफ द एजेंट कि भाई इफ यू आर नेग्लिजेंट, आपके पास स्किल कम था, मिसकंडक्ट किया आपने, सही से कंडक्ट नहीं किया, आपका नेग्लिजेंस था, यू विल हैव टू रीपे मी फॉर दैट कॉम्पनसेशन. आपके पास स्किल ही नहीं था इन्वेस्ट करने का, लेकिन यू केम एंड टोल्ड मी कि नहीं, यू हैव द स्किल टू इन्वेस्ट, स्टिल लायबल. बट द एजेंट विल नॉट बी लायबल इन रिस्पेक्ट ऑफ लॉस एंड डैमेज, जो कि इनडायरेक्टली या रिमोटली होता है. ठीक है. इनडायरेक्ट और रिमोट डैमेजेस के लिए इवन एजेंट इज नॉट रिस्पॉन्सिबल. लाइक फॉर एग्जाम्पल, एजेंट ने 25,000 इक्विटी में लगाया, 25,000 डेट में लगाया, 50,000 गोल्ड में लगाया. शेयर मार्केट कम्स डाउन, वैल्यू ऑफ गोल्ड कम्स डाउन. नाउ दैट 25,000 इन शेयर मार्केट बिकम्स 10,000. 50,000 ऑफ गोल्ड जो है उसका वैल्यू हो गया 25,000. राइट. सो आई लूज और नॉट, आई लूज आउट वॉट 45,000 का मेरा लॉस हो गया. बट दैट इज अगेन समथिंग विच इज नॉट इन कंट्रोल ऑफ द, दैट्स अ रिमोट डैमेज, उसमें कोई गलती नहीं है एजेंट की, इनडायरेक्ट लॉस है. द एजेंट इज नॉट कंट्रोलिंग द शेयर मार्केट, द एजेंट इज नॉट कंट्रोलिंग द फाइनेंशियल सेक्टर. तो इन सच केसेस देन देयर इज नो प्रॉब्लम, देन वी विल नॉट से कि भाई एजेंट की गलती है एंड एजेंट विल बी रेस्पॉन्सिबल टू कॉम्पनसेट मी. बट जहाँ डायरेक्ट नेग्लिजेंस है, जहाँ मिसकंडक्ट है, वहाँ पे द एजेंट विल हैव टू रीपे मी द कॉम्पनसेशन और वॉट एवर अमाउंट जो कि मेरा नुकसान हुआ है बिकॉज ऑफ माई एजेंट. क्लियर है सो फार? ठीक है, चलो. Now what are the liabilities? Sorry. Let us look at the liabilities under agency. So जैसे कि a master is liable for the wrongful act of his servant if they are committed during the course of servant's employment, similarly principal is liable for the agent's wrong which are done within the scope of authority. इसी को हम कहते हैं vicarious liability. ठीक है. सो अगर मैंने जितना ऑथराइज किया है, ठीक है, इफ आई हैव ऑथराइज्ड समथिंग टू द एजेंट एंड द एजेंट वर्क्स विद इन द स्कोप ऑफ द अथॉरिटी, द एजेंट डज नॉट गो बियॉन्ड इट, the agent works within that scope of authority, and an agent commits some wrong against some third person, then I will be liable for agent's action. ठीक है? So, for example, I three parties, I, Sarva, and Aryan. I am the principal, Sarva is the agent. So, I have instructed Sarva to provide Aryan with some X quality of rice. Strict instructions, clear instructions, X quality of rice is to be provided to Aryan. This is the scope of work that Sarva is supposed to do. Rather than giving X, X quality of rice, Sarva gives Y quality of rice. Now Sarva is acting within the scope of the authority that has been given. उसको rice देना है वो वही कर रही है, ठीक है? Sarva is doing the same thing what she has been asked to do. In such cases, I cannot pawn off the responsibility upon Sarva when Aryan comes to sue. Aryan जब केस फाइल करेगा तो मैं नहीं बोलूँगा कि सर्वा की गलती है. Aryan will file a case against me. Aryan will say कि boss, Sarva was your agent. Her mistakes were within the scope of her authority that you had given to her. So in such cases, I am going to hold you accountable. Okay, that is what is called as the concept of vicarious liability. This is something which we will read a little more in detail when we study law of torts. Agent is bound to conduct the business of his principal according to the directions which are given by the principal and to keep himself within the confines of his authority. बेसिकली वही है, मैं बार बार बता रहा हूँ, जितना इंस्ट्रक्शंस दिया गया है, जितनी बातें मैंने तुमको बताई है, जितना मैंने तुमको एक्सप्लेन किया है, जितना मैंने तुम्हें पावर दिया है, उतना ही काम करो, उसके बियॉन्ड मत करो, ठीक है? सो जस्ट स्टिक टू द अथॉरिटीज दैट हैज बीन गिवन. इफ आई हैव गिवन यू द अथॉरिटी टू इन्वेस्ट 1 lakh, invest 1 lakh. Don't invest 2 lakhs, 3 lakhs, 4 lakhs. No, that is you going beyond the scope of your authority. The agent cannot do that. Now, how is a servant usually serves only one master, whereas an agent may work for several principals at the same time? तो ऐसे जैसे you have a driver, all right. Now that driver will not be driving car for 4 or 5 people. He will be driving only for you. Whereas an agent, so for example, your financial advisor, he is your agent. So that financial advisor will not just be your financial advisor, but he would have multiple clients. So he would be handling 4-5 clients, and उनके लिए पैसे invest कर रहा होगा. So that is what is the difference predominantly between a servant and an agent. तो यहाँ पे difference आ जाता है. Clear है so far? चलो, let us have a look at the practice questions. Done reading? ओके, सो बेसिकली ये प्रिंसिपल क्या कह रहा है हमको यहाँ पे, पहले वो समझ लेते हैं फटाफट। प्रिंसिपल ये कह रहा है कि अगर मेरे किसी एक्शन से किसी थर्ड पर्सन को या फिर किसी को भी ऐसा लगता है, अ पर्सन ऑफ ऑर्डिनरी प्रूडेंस जो कि उस बिजनेस में है, उसको ये समझ में आता है, वो ये प्रिज्यूम करता है दैट द एजेंट और द पर्सन हैज द अथॉरिटी टू परफॉर्म अ पर्टिकुलर एक्ट, एंड दैट पर्सन परफॉर्म्स दैट एक्ट, then I, as a principal, will be stopped from denying that the person was my agent. I'll give you two examples. The facts of the case is pretty clear. Hemp is basically nothing but marijuana, मतलब weed होता है. It's a drug. Now, purchaser of hemp allowed it to remain in the custody of a broker. Now, the job of ordinary work of the business of broker was to buy and sell the hemp. So he sold the hemp and received the price. Now the question is the principal bound by the sale? The purchaser did not specifically ask the broker कि you have the authority of selling it. But the broker's ordinary business was buying and selling it. Was the broker right in presuming that he is the agent of the purchaser and he has the authority of selling the hemp on behalf of the purchaser? That is actually what is the entire question. So tell me what should be the correct answer. Yes, the correct answer is option D. बिल्कुल करेक्ट है, क्योंकि यहां पे देखो क्लियरली बोल रहा है person of ordinary prudence, conversant with the business and the nature of the business, is justified in presuming that he had the authority. Broker's ordinary business was to buy and sell hemp. Now, if you have purchased something from me, and then you leave it with me only, you don't even collect it. So, what am I supposed to think? I am justified in thinking that you want me to sell it off because my job is to buy and sell. So, what I do is I sell it off. Getting my point? So, that is what makes it that yes, the correct answer is there was an apparent authority to sell with the broker, and thus the principal is bound. So D is the correct answer. Next question. Okay, so this is a little tricky question. The principle, though it's easy to decipher and understand, if you read the principle carefully, I think you will understand what they are trying to say. Just be a little patient with the principle. डन। ओके, तो यहाँ पे दो चीज़ों की बात कर रहा है। वन, दैट वाइफ्स इम्प्लाइड अथॉरिटी, मतलब बाय इम्प्लीकेशन जो है वाइफ बिकम्स एन एजेंट फॉर द हस्बैंड। एंड सेकेंड वो बात कर रहा है एजेंसी बाय नेसेसिटी की, कि अगर मान लो कि कोई गलती नहीं है वाइफ की और शी इज़ नॉट बीइंग प्रोवाइडेड बाय द हस्बैंड, तो वहाँ पे शी बिकम्स एन एजेंट बाय नेसेसिटी, एंड वो अपने हस्बैंड का क्रेडिट जो है उसको रख सकते हैं। शी कैन प्लेज दैट क्रेडिट टू द एक्सटेंट फॉर रीजनेबल मेंटेनेंस। ठीक है, वहाँ पे शी डज नॉट बिकम एन इम्प्लाइड एजेंट, बट देर इज अ एजेंसी ऑफ नेसेसिटी। But otherwise, in general, situations, in general cases, wife has an implied authority, like she's an implied agent, कि वो जो भी household shopping वगैरह कर रही है वो उसके लिए husband जो है will be providing for, ऐसा ये principle कह रहा है, right?